This is Sierra Hull, everybody. So welcome to Lessons with Marcel. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Thank you. It's
been a while.
Good to see you. Yeah, it was always fun being able to hang out with you some, and hearing you do your thing with bluegrass just really inspired me.
Well, thank you. Well,
yeah.
I remember you've been sounding great since you were about this tall. So, and like most everybody, you know, it's like you're not quite towering over me like all the young boys do by the time they're your age, but
You can buy me the best, say you love me like the best, but don't think I'm gonna buy the words you say. You can tell me your sweet lies with those pretty big blue eyes, but don't think I'm gonna give my heart away. You can tell me things untrue, say you want me like you do, and you'll always be the one that's by my side. But I won't buy it, I'll deny it, 'cause I know it isn't true. 'Cause a million times I've heard these lies from you, that you're gonna give your all and do your best, make me the happiest girl that's ever known a love so true. Tell me that you love me so, you will never let me go, but I know it isn't so. 'Cause the best thing you can find, don't you think it's gonna fly over like the lines I bought before? 'Cause you can take your stuff, I've had enough, I'll even hold the door, 'cause I ain't gonna buy it anymore.
Something that I was wanting to talk a little bit about was mentoring, because you've been mentored by some of your favorite musicians, and now you're in a place where you're mentoring people like Wyatt Ellis and people coming up in the music. And something you said this morning that we heard at the Bluegrass Hall of Fame was that doing something that you love has a lot of emotional highs and lows. And a lot of times children, anyone getting in it really, they don't realize that maybe at first, and so it's easy to lose like a sense of curiosity. So I was just wondering, like, what kind of things keep you curious, and what like instilled more of a love for you as a kid?
well, it's interesting because I think for me, I fell in love with the music, obviously, or I wouldn't still be doing it. Of course, I love the music, but there's something so special, as you know, about like growing up in this community. So I always say, like, the music got me fired up, but it was really the community, I think, that made me stay. Those interactions with my heroes were so lucky that, you know, at least in the bluegrass world, it's still a pretty niche genre of music, you know, the community.
Yeah.
Though it's bigger than ever, it's also still very small, and so it's easy, you know, if you stay in it long enough, you'll have so many friends and people that you'll meet over the years. So that kind of welcoming spirit has always meant so much to me, and I think, you know, getting to meet heroes like Sam Bush or Alison Krauss or Ricky Skaggs, whoever over the years, you know, it's okay. You just, you know, you get your Vanna White on here. It's one of the real joys, I think, of like coming up in a style of music like this, is that, you know, you do have access to great musicians that, you know, some of the best musicians in the world. There's opportunities to just walk up and talk to them. So I guess like the older I get, it's not lost on me that like I was that lucky young person who people always went out of their way, from the local musicians I grew up with to my heroes. You know, people always took time. If anybody has any interest in like spending time with me, I always try to make that happen, if and when I can.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the community is really what keeps you coming back to this kind of music. And
Yeah, I think so. And like, you know, it's like the guys I'm playing music with now, trying to always surround myself with incredible musicians that I can learn and grow from, and, you know, always trying to push each other to be better and to keep growing. I think that's part of the joy of it. As I was saying at the workshop today, I think like it's a never-ending process of being able to learn. And I think I've always been a naturally curious musical listener. Like I'm very rooted in bluegrass, and probably spent, gosh, the first 10 to 12 years in my musical world was like almost nothing but bluegrass, you know?
Yeah.
But I love so many different styles of music, and I think a lot of the musicians that have also inspired me have been curious musicians. Like getting to work with somebody like Bela Fleck, I mean, I don't know a more curious musician than that. Or you take somebody like Chris Thile, who's taken the mandolin and done all these different things with him. So Alison Krauss, you know, who's collaborated with everybody. So I think in the spirit of that, I've been influenced by their curiosity as musicians, if that makes sense too, which has made me feel more free to explore anything, which is kind of exciting.
What are some of your favorite subgenres or things that you've done recently? I know you've done some work with Corey Wong and said Sturgill Simpson, and I've seen all kinds of things that you've done recently. You're on so much. I don't know how you do it all. But.
Well, I've been really lucky to get to do some very like wide-ranging collaborations over the past few years, and I think like anytime I really have an opportunity to step outside of the bluegrass box, you know, and do something different, it's exciting. Sometimes it's a little tricky because I play the mandolin, and to me the mandolin at its best, like, you know, sounds the best with a microphone, you know, and even like plugging in with a DI, you can only get so loud. So, you know, I find myself in a lot of situations these days, like whether it's, you know, playing with Corey Wong, who's got like, you know, a 6-piece horn section and, you know, a loud band, or even like going and we did some shows with Brad Paisley recently, and just like we did some stuff with like the Allman Betts guys. It's like, you know, lots of loud guitars, and it's like the little mandolin wants to have fun too. So it's fun to like figure out ways to dynamically make the instrument work in these different settings, you know. Obviously, like bluegrass is like the perfect setting for an instrument to just sound the way it sounds, you know. So I think I care so much about the tone of the instrument and the sound quality that, you know, it's like, at least in our show, we're always trying to chase like using live microphones as much as possible versus, you know, I mean, we're using DIs too, but, you know, it's like DI live microphone in an ideal setting. So you know, just always searching to try to make things the best they can be in these different scenarios, and it can be tricky sometimes, but it's like a fun thing to try to explore and figure out how to make it work, and I'm always learning from it.
It's really been neat to see the instrument, the mandolin, and just bluegrass music kind of expand.
Yeah.
And just you passing that forward in such a cool and honest way. You have such a gift with that. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah. What are maybe some structured or like unstructured ways that you explore new music? Do you just like go for something that catches your ear and you might like learn some new stuff based on that, or I need to learn this kind of music because this skill is necessary to be able to play whatever you have coming up? Like, is there certain things that...
Yeah, it's interesting. I think some of the things I've wound up getting into, you know, the Corey Wong thing being a prime example of like, you know, stuff that's just kind of come to me because somebody's invited me to do something, and then, you know, I wind up doing this thing that I wouldn't have expected that I'd get to do. But, you know, we also live in a world now where like any kind of music is at our fingertips in 30 seconds, you know, type anything into your phone. So I
Yeah.
think like the biggest thing, I rarely go, oh, I need to be able to play jazz, or I need to be able to play pop music or funk or whatever, and then decide to do that. I just kind
Yeah.
of go, what am I excited about? What's going to make me want to pick up my instrument and play? And I think that's the biggest thing. And if living in one musical zone is enough for you to be stoked and happy and to keep exploring and exploring, like, that's okay too. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to. You don't have to jump all over the map musically, but I do think trying to find things that like catch your curiosity and make you want to spend time picking up the instrument is super important. Yeah, sometimes it just is as a result of maybe something that I've been invited to do, and I find myself in a situation to learn and grow from a different, set of musicians that maybe grew up playing different styles or whatever. So
Yeah.
I've been really fortunate with that. But I also feel like bluegrass, easy for me to say because I grew up in it, but I feel like there's no better foundation than growing up playing bluegrass. I mean, from the very beginning, I didn't grow up reading music or talking about theory or anything. I grew up with somebody
Yeah.
saying, hey kid, here's how you play a G chord, and then you know how to play a few chords, and here's a fiddle tune, and then you learn all the other little pieces as you go, as you continue
Yeah.
to explore. And of course, that's important too if you really want to be a well-versed musician who can also have vocabulary to communicate with other musicians. But like
Yeah.
bluegrass, because it's such a style of music you learn by ear and it requires a lot of improvisation, if you can really get strong roots in that, it can allow you to have the skills necessary, I think, to play a lot of different things. I'm never
Yeah.
going to sound like a jazz musician because I'm just not. I don't have that background, or I'm never going to sound really like a funk musician or a classical musician. But the bluegrass is always kind of going to be there. But at least it has given me, I feel like, the necessary skills to be able to, be a good collaborator with people.
Well, glad I got to hear Sierra today. It was really great. She put on a great show here and at the Bluegrass Museum.
Thanks, Danielle.
And it's like home listening to your music because that's one of the things that made me fall for bluegrass. So
Well, thank you so much. I really
thank
appreciate
you
it.
for doing
Yeah,
the
thanks.
interview.
Great to chat with you.